Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of AgNext podcast, Quality Food for Billions. In our previous podcast, we had a lively discussion with Mr. Prasanna Rao, CEO of Arya Collateral, on how standardizing food quality assessments using digital solutions can create a better, fairer, and more transparent food value chain. Today, we will take that discussion forward and shed more light on how rapid instant analysis can bring huge impact on top line and bottom line of agribusinesses, and also turn zillions of manual subjective processes into digital processes to provide never thought of insights for the benefit of the business. Many agribusinesses today still rely on traditional paperwork to capture food quality assessment data and use manual data processing systems to not only pay the vendors but also gather crucial business insights. However, it is estimated that this conventional approach leads to human errors, sometimes up to 40%. This means that the data gathered by the team on ground ends up being unreliable and sometimes tampered. Ultimately, this costs businesses to lose in terms of time, money, and resources. The need of the hour is for an instant, automated, and transparent system that can be deployed on site at multiple touch points in the food value chain for the procurement of right quality. Such a digital solution should be able to provide easy access of food quality data to the stakeholders without any manual intervention. And to shed light on this issue, today we have invited Mr. Sandeep Kumar Singh, leader of the India's largest company handling feed, which is a very, very important, I would say, commodity or a very, very important food value chain for livestock. And Sandeep is a Forbes 40 under 40. So, no better than a person who can guide us about, how important this digital transparency is and can shed light on that, because he himself has been a champion to build, things which are much digital, much earlier in his career. Even 3 years back, the entire procurement had gone digital with Sandeep leading that across Godrej. So welcome, Sandeep. It is such a pleasure,
Thank you.
Honor to be talking to you. And why don't you kind of give a quick introduction on this topic, and also tell us about what are the challenges an agribusiness faces with a traditional paper-based information system for gathering quality, and how does that impact your business top line or the bottom line? Yeah.
Thank you, Taran. I think, one of the hypotheses that I've been working on and building upon in India is there is a reason why we don't have all India supremely scalable agri-businesses, right?
Right.
Most of them have supply chains and sourcing protocols set up for local regions.
Yes.
In the category in which we operate, which is compound animal feed, we are potentially the only one who with presence across around 20 odd states or more than that.
Yeah.
That's not the case with any other compound feed company. Now, what is it that is preventing these guys from scaling up? One of the big reasons is how do you get access to quality raw material? Yeah. And how can the leadership, which is potentially operating from a remote location, be assured of the quality of the material? So I think digital transparency will have a huge role to play in scaling these businesses.
Right.
Ag businesses, even the traditional ones, struggle to scale up for lack of data transparency. Mm-hmm. So that's something that I think will change dramatically if we have more people and businesses like yours coming in and helping us solve some of these things. Mm-hmm. In my own experience, the other piece that you were asking about, the paperless part, now organizations and our business, I'll be more specific to the one that I'm experiencing currently. Nobody goes and looks back and what is written on that paper.
Right.
The leadership, middle management, everybody is stretched on their ask. There's barely any analysis done on what is being captured, whatever data is being captured in that format.
Correct.
And hence there is no room to improve.
Right.
We may end up making the same mistakes again. Now, at least if it's more digitized, more readily usable, accessible form, and if you overlay it with a methodology where you start giving alerts to prevent the same mistake from happening again, imagine the cost of error that we currently face that can be avoided.
Yes.
Which automatically helps us enhance our margins
Right.
automatically makes us more affordable to larger set of livestock farmers. So I think it will be a must. And in another 2 to 3 years, you will see companies which have done this transformation for themselves.
Right.
They taking a far stronger growth momentum over organizations which chose not to play the game. So I guess that's how this will play out.
Right. So what you are suggesting is that, this entire digitization of procurement leads to, untampered data, first of all. Second, a very, very important data insights for the management, which was still now, lying in some corner in documentations. And most importantly, delayed data. I mean, all the processes getting optimized.
Correct.
So I hear that. I mean, when you're procuring, there's a lot of Godrej is known for quality. I mean, Godrej is an epitome of quality in the whole of the country, and now expanding internationally also in terms of that kind of a paradigm that you have set for the market. So any delayed data gathering process leads to a lot of operational losses for sure. So is there more to it than digitization, that there are benefits that you are accruing out of it, and what is driving you towards building this at such a pace? Because I have seen the pace and it is just enormous at Godrej.
Many. I'll give you a classic example. In the morning, I was having a quarterly update with my buying team, and one of them asked me this question: that what is the logic of premiumization on some RMs?
Wow.
Right. Now, he of course came from an engineering background, so he asked, and I immediately told him, "You are a binary guy." The jokes apart, just think of this question and the struggle that a buyer potentially faces on his life on a daily basis, right?
Exactly.
This guy is potentially buying for 6 different plans. He may be hearing 6 different definitions of what is premium and what is not premium on an agri-produce, which is otherwise a big mass of raw material.
Right.
And we are not able to provide him with that input more proactively. Now, if everything is available on a dashboard and I don't need to define what premium for him is, and I just set a tolerance band for him that if this is the quality, this is the range of procurement. And for this kind of quality, we don't mind stepping up a bit.
Wow.
Something like this, something as basic as that can, make a lot of difference to our lives for sure.
Correct.
We don't operate on very large margins. So, anything of this sort will make a lot of difference. The other thing that we were thinking today was, one part we are doing with Hugh, Taran, is basically setting up this in our quality functions.
Yes.
Now, we were debating internally that why can't I deploy this system in some of my more trusted suppliers?
Agree.
Let me just, put it there, let this guy send the material from there and I take it in my plant without doing any of this.
Right.
I don't need that.
Validation. If you
green channel.
Further upstream.
Yeah. This is what classic green channel is. I trust the guy. I've been working with him for 20 years. Wow. If the quality gets digitally ratified there, I don't need to necessarily do the testing, etc. again. I just unload the material in the plant. He sees a lot of benefit in it. Today, the trucks keep on piling up at the plant. They need to wait for their turn to come, etc., etc. All of that can be resolved. So I think the benefit is not simply about digitizing or putting a layer of analytics. There are many more layers which can simplify the way we buy and how efficiently do we buy. All of that will start changing in future. So I think we are looking at many more layers and steps ahead, thinking that how can some of these things also match with what you are building, for example, and then create that more robust structure.
So Sandeep, I mean, this is like, the classic case of, incentivization to your sellers. Because if as a buyer you are providing that messaging that listen, quality will be incentivized, that kind of creates such a great market. And although as per a binary person it could be a bit costly, but from your P&L perspective, this would be immense value, because what you are trying, I mean, for just as incremental value, you are actually getting an exponential value into your own system. Yes. And that's where the relationship that you are doing between the buyer and seller, you are creating a new paradigm there.
I think that, and honestly, when we started working with you, one of the obsessions was how do we reduce our turnaround times of trucks, raw material trucks that come at the plant. And that's when we said any analytical process which is taking forever, if it gets replaced by digital, where your inputs are more real time and 97-98% accurate, we are good to go.
Right.
Because you're dealing with, we sell close to more than 1 million tons of compound feed.
Right.
So on that scale, 98% accuracy is absolutely spot on. We don't have a problem with that.
Right.
So I think we can live with that. So I think a lot of smaller nuances get resolved and cost of doing business will come down. At the end of the day, a truck waiting at any plant to be offloaded,
yes,
right? And if it's spending more than 24 hours, is value erosion for everyone. For the logistics guy, because his asset is stuck, he may be paid for it, but that's not the best payout.
Agree.
For the supplier, the material is stuck, his payment cycle is getting delayed, and for us also.
Exactly.
I have to build more inventory to manage this kind of supply shocks.
Exactly.
Right.
And if this gets rejected for the supplier, this is a big, it's a big loss, because he has to sell it at a very, very, he has to just discard it in the market at, very, very fractional value.
Yeah.
So, and then the logistics cost of coming. So for them, if it is done in upstream, that is a new relationship that you are building of trust.
Absolutely.
Between you and your suppliers.
If, like for our business, and one of the things I've been telling my leadership team also is, if we have to aspire to be 2 times, 3 times what we are today, it will not happen with the same processes and systems.
Oh, I love it. It's very nice.
We will have to start looking at it very differently. And if we have to start looking at differently, it has to start with the way we buy.
Right.
And that's where we will potentially keep on working on further and further improvements.
Right. No, that's fairly evident. The way you have not only imbibed and called these technologies into your system, but imbibed them so nicely, especially with the whole e-procurement, e-auction platform linked with the quality systems that you envisage as a larger picture. Yeah. It's just extremely commendable, because once you have the bids lined with quality, that kind of, accelerates your entire buying process to a different new level without any, manual interventions that were there, manual negotiations, contract, negotiations, contract compliances, all of that gets automated.
Yep. And, to my team, I keep on saying this, that buying is at the end of the day a combination of art and science.
Right.
The more we remove the art and more scientific it becomes,
right.
The scalability, the probability of us scaling up improves. The more we make it art oriented, the more, I'll have to depend on those 5-6 very crucial buyers and their art of doing that negotiation. And in larger organizations, that's not the way we can scale up. So that's the way we look at this whole piece.
You have just kind of, reminisced me of a very, very old 14 years back, Starbucks CEO talking about the same thing, that, the food markouts, which they reduced by 30%, which is huge, was by this only, that we have to take out the art and focus on the science as much as we can.
I didn't know I'm in August company then, I guess.
No, I'm pretty sure you will be not only reducing your cost by 30%, but also increasing your revenues, because the right quality definitely has a bigger premium. The market rewards you bigger than what you will reward your supplier, that's for sure. Yeah. So great. And is there anything that you would like to, share with us about your larger vision in this space? Because we really want to see out of India such a company, such transformative technology, which obviously we have not even seen outside in many of the companies. We are talking to CP and all that. Also, this kind of work that must have been done here is commendable. And anything that you would like to guide the industry on?
One of the reasons, and again, it's a more of a pet theory that I have around this, is that standardization of quality is super critical, especially in agri-produce. I think the only way one can achieve that, and at a large scale, at the scale at which India produces, is through digital technology. And you guys are doing a phenomenal job of that. And the whole purpose of collaborating and working on this together is this gives us that advantage. Yeah. And it also creates more use cases for you at some level, where it starts making sense for both of us to keep on doing this. My ultimate ambition on this is, how do we ensure that even if you're 2 million ton, 3 million tons, sometime in future cattle feed company or total compound feed company, every single bag should have the same consistent quality. Because at the end of the day, the livestock farmer has paid me the same price for every bag.
Right.
So there is no reason for us to go back and give him or her the excuse that because of the nature of raw material that we are dealing with, we can't have standardized output.
Right.
That to me, some extent is 10 years back thinking. We need to move out of that. And the more consistent we become in our delivery of quality to the livestock farmer, the more predictability he or she sees in his farm output.
Right.
The relationship strengthens, and that's what we want to work on. So I guess that's where role for organizations like you also become quite critical.
Yes, and we are here to learn from you actually. Because if I would say, I was when you introduced to the team about the e-auction, it was like we were thinking that these are the kind of things that will be collected, which you have already thought 3 years back. So I must say you are much ahead of the game.
Some of them are in pilot stages. I mean, the story still has to stitch together.
Yeah, but it will. Once the quality is digitized, there's so much of value in the procurement that can be, brought in, and that's where that translates to a reward in the market. So really looking forward to that, and I think that's it from my side. To ask you questions on that basis for how you are building one of the largest, I would say, feed companies out of India and scaling globally. And any ending note, Sandeep, I would be very, very thankful to you.
I wish you guys more success. Your success will pave way for us on newer and more innovative things. I have 2-3 more ideas that I think can remarkably change the way we collaborate and work together. Sure. And of course, I have to come and see you with my mithai ka dabba. So that's pending at my end. I'll do that, and maybe when we meet, we'll discuss more on this. So all the best to you guys. I'm sure you guys will be very successful in what you're building out.
Thank you. I'll wait for the mithai ka dabba.
Yes.
Okay. Sure. Thank you so much, Sandeep, and really wishing you all the best and much success for a very, very, I would say, great corporate initiative that you are taking and leading one of the largest companies out of India. So all the best, and cheers to Team Godrej.
Thank you so much, Taran. Thank you.
Thanks, Sandeep. Thanks a lot, and look forward.